few opening comments, and then we'll take your questions. And a reminder, no live streaming.
All right, so we just finished up. What practice number was that? 9, 10, 11, is that right? We just finished 11. So 11 finished up. Went inside today. It's the first time we've really been inside by our own choice this year. Had a couple weather days we had to go, but it's easy to have good spirits inside. We try to change practice up today, have a lot of competitive drills and environments, kind of a change in pace. They're starting to hit that camp wall where it's like, oh, Coach, I've done this, I've hit this guy a lot, and that's where you worry about complacency or guys getting bored. So we changed some things around today and had good competition, kind of changed the order of practice and tried to put some emphasis on some of the special teams. But I did think we had good juice. Didn't think we had real good juice on Monday and Tuesday. A lot of poor me's and school starting, a lot of excuses. So good practice today, though.
Questions?
Coach, give an update on Tyreek McGee, kind of what his injury situation.
Yeah, Tyreek's got a small fracture in his fifth metatarsal, I think it is. But we think he's going to be fine. He actually had a similar injury last year, and he played with it. So there's no certainty that he's out or in for the first game, and same thing for any game after that. So we don't know. We think he might be able to go out and play with it because he played with it last year. So.
A couple of other guys too while we're on the injury, Jackson Harris and Robert Beal.
Yeah, Jackson had a foot injury yesterday. Don't know how long he'll be out. We'll see. Beal's got an undisclosed injury right now.
Coach, there was some comments made by Justin Fields' dad to ESPN. How do you typically handle it when a parent talks about your quarterback situation?
Yeah, I don't get too much into it. I think that it's the same with most parents. We try to have a policy on our team that everything that happens within our family stays within our family. We ask our players to deal with the media in the right direction, and that we have one voice on this team, and that's my voice. And the players obviously have their own. But I think it's important to understand that it's a team goal that we're going to play the best players and that we're going to do the best thing we can to help our team. I certainly think both Jake and Justin are doing a great job of competing and helping us. And to be honest with you, I haven't even seen it or heard anything about it, so it doesn't really affect me.
In terms of the group you have a wide receiver coming in this year, with the guys you brought in, you have a lot of guys in that room who are, who came in as kind of highly regarded prospects. So how do you kind of handle all the depth in that room? Is that sort of a good thing or a bad thing with the whole culture of competition in there?
Well, how they came in does not matter to us. You mentioned they came in highly regarded. I mean, that means nothing in that room. I mean, it means absolutely nothing. I mean, every time you guys print something about receivers, it's about how many 5-stars are in there. But the guys that are playing best right now in there, none of them had 5 stars. So we go off performance. I mean, the receiver position is where do you help the team the most? Can you cover a kick? Can you block somebody? Can you make a play outside on the perimeter that nobody can make? And right now, that has nothing to do with what you were regarded as coming in. So is the culture of competition good? Absolutely. Because maybe those guys that were 3 stars and 4 stars have outworked the guys that were 5, because none of that makes a decision for us. All we do is say, who's playing well? And right now, the guys that are playing best at receiver were not the highly regarded guys. And we're going to play the guys that play the best. We're going to play the guys that practice the best. We're going to play the guys that bust their butt and go out there and help the team. And there's a lot of them that are helping on special teams. I'm very pleased with our receiver room. Top to bottom, I think they're competing hard. They're playing hard. They're making good plays. And they're really helping on special teams. But it's what they came in as. I'm not into that. I'm into the team environment. Can you help our team? And if you can, then I'm going to reward you by helping our team. But not, I can't promise you a number of touches and catches. The goal is to win the game.
Kirby, with Tyreek out of practice for now, who has an opportunity to move up at the positions where he was working, and have you been impressed with anyone making a run?
Yeah, we're not in a position where everybody out there, every player out there is getting coached and worked with. So with Tyreek out, it's not like, oh, there was this transformation. we're working with 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s in practice, and we're 4 deep at most of our secondary positions, which would be 16 players. In nickel, that would be 20 players. So every guy is being coached and worked with. So with Tyreek being out, it's not like there's a big, huge transformation. We're just continuing to work the guys at all their positions, trying to create really good depth. We've moved guys around. We've got some guys playing safety, star, penny. We've got a lot of guys playing different positions out there. So I'm pleased with those guys' competition. Now, we got to play better and not give up some of the plays in the secondary we've given up. But, I mean, it's not about Tyreek being in or out. There's a lot of guys getting opportunities out there.
After going back and look at the films in Scrimmage, was anything that kind of jumped out at you, maybe weren't aware of, and you spoke to us on Saturday?
Physical, tough. I think the guys got tired during the scrimmage. You know, we took a lot of snaps. Probably didn't realize how lethargic we were towards the end of it. There was not a lot of guys flying around towards the end of it, but nobody really stuck out as a dominant scrimmage. It was pretty balanced. There were some big explosive plays, and there were some good plays on defense.
Is Jaden Hunter somebody who's still figuring into that star equation a little bit, or he's strictly like
No, Jaden's not repping at star. He's only repping at inside backer for us. He's been dealing with a hamstring, so he hasn't been 100%, but he is almost there now. Like the last 2 practices, he's got his speed back, but the first 7 or 8 practices, he struggled to be able to run as fast as he could because he's been fighting the injury bug.
How close, Coach, are you to defining or knowing the identity of your offense? I know there's still competition in a lot of those spots. Will that determine what direction you go, or do you have an idea how you want to run the offense and how you fill the spots?
Well, we've got a set of plays, our core belief that we always have, which is balance and being powerful, being able to run the ball at our will, not somebody else breaking our will. So that's always going to be the identity we have. But as far as having it formed by any shape or form, I don't think we'll have that. We won't have that until the 2 deep is set on the offensive line and how the top 10 shake out of the linemen that we're going to be able to work with this season. And I don't think that'll play out until probably even after Scrimmage 2. You know, Scrimmage 2 is kind of a defining moment, but it's not over because at Scrimmage 2 we still have 8 or 9 practices left before the first game.
Seeing as how you guys are kind of still in that evaluation mode, what would you say your biggest concerns are with your offensive line right now? What kind of is at the front of your mind when it comes to that group?
Well, I mean, getting a formidable backup center, getting a good 2 sets of tackles. Who's going to be the tackle if this guy goes down? Who's going to be the right tackle in the competition? Which guards can go out and play tackle? Who are the guys that can play left and right side? Who are the guys that can just play left and they'll go left tackle and left guard? Kendall Baker's been at left tackle for a couple of days working out there. Cade's worked inside some. I mean, we got a done by committee. So when you say a concern, I mean, I'm concerned about every spot because the competition's thick. But more importantly is if this spot goes down, who goes where? And I think Sam does a good job of putting himself in a situation that if something happens, we know the plan of action.
The offense this year with formulating a game plan and play calling, how much, if anything, did things change with position groups change, or with Coley going to quarterbacks and getting the title, or do you envision things kind of going the way they have?
I'm not sure I know what you're asking.
In terms of formulating a game plan and play calling, ultimately Jim up there and
Yeah, Jim's going to call the plays. He'll call the plays. By design, I don't know that you can say Coley's going to have more of an impact on the offense because he had a huge impact last year. So it would be misspoken to say, oh, okay, now we're going to have this premonition. No, it's the same offense. We've got Cortez bringing ideas in. We've got ideas formulated by what we did in off-season studies. So the building of the package is really based on what we have. What are our strengths? Are we stronger at receiver than running back, or are our backs going to be as good and as explosive as they were last year? We've got to see some of that and see. But the way the offensive game plan's built will be very similar. We just have more input because we got one more coach. And the way it's called will be very similar to how it's called last year with Jim calling it from the box.
Touching back on the quarterbacks, specifically with Jake, I mean, what type of things have you seen with how he's handled his second fall practice, how he's kind of developed coming into last year?
How he's handling everything as far as the leadership position or what?
Just as far as his good elements of coming into last year.
Yeah, I think he's much more comfortable. I mean, you can't even imagine this time last year to now. I mean, that's a lot of games. He's played a lot of football games. His understanding of what we're trying to do offensively, and I think his step now is like he knows what the defense is doing before the defense does it, especially against us, who you go against every day. So his development has been good because he played all these games. He understands where the weakness is of each defense. He can exploit that. He has really good command of the huddle and has good presence. I mean, he draws off sides, so he's doing a good job from a communication standpoint. And he always did. I just think he knows the inside and outside of everything a little better now.
Kirby, have you had a chance to talk to or text someone like Bobo or Laney and how they're going to hang in during this tough time, I guess?
Yeah, I've talked to Mike probably more than Laney, just out of our friendship. But my thoughts and prayers go out to George and Barbara, their parents and their family. And he's got 5 kids that I know he worships and cares about so much, and they're a tight-knit family. And if I know Mike Bobo, I know that whatever he's dealing with, it ain't too strong for him because he was built rock solid. So I know he'll fight his way through it.
You mentioned you've been kicking Cade inside some. Just how have you thought of how he's handled taking some reps in there? And do you see him as someone that can fit into being a versatile lineman this year, play multiple spots?
Yeah, it's been an experiment for us. He's played some right tackle here. He's played some left tackle here. He's working at some guard. I think it's easier for him to stay on the left side. He's handled moving in there well, but it's just an experiment right now. We're going to do it for 3 days and look at it and see. And hard to say because we haven't scrimmaged with him in there, and everything on the scrimmage turns on and goes a little faster. So hopefully we'll get to see some of that Saturday. But I'm pleased with his work ethic. He's a hard-working kid. He's a bright kid.
You mentioned the base plays that you have in. Do position groups also compete in terms of whether you're playing 2 tight ends or 4 receivers or 3 receivers? Do you look at it like that, or do you pretty much know what personnel packages you want to run?
Well, no, you want your best players on the field. So if our best players on the field are 4 wideouts and no tight ends, we better have some good tackles and be able to block well because we got no edges. But if our best players are tight ends, then we'll have 3 of them out there. And if it's best backs, then we'll have 2 backs and maybe 2 receivers. So we're trying to get the guys on the field that need to touch the ball or can play without the ball. And sometimes there's a loss for our support base, fan base, you guys, for the respect for the guy that doesn't have the ball. Because there's only one ball and there's 11 guys out there. So the guy without the ball better have a lot more value than just the guy with the ball. And we're trying to get the guys that can play well without the ball on the field. And I think that's what our offensive staff does a good job of, and those guys buying into kind of the team concept of if I do well at receiver, then the backs will do well. If the backs do well, then the receivers will do well, and they work off each other.
2 more questions?
Recall back in the spring, you talked about safety depth being a concern, and then Otis comes in as a safety, if I'm correct when you saying that, and then he's also working at star. I assume you guys are kind of playing him at both spots right now, and how is he adapting to that kind of doing both things at one time?
Yeah, Otis is doing a good job understanding the calls. We've got a role for him as a star, and we've got a role for him as a safety. So he has a dual role. I think he's more comfortable from his high school background playing star, and he likes playing that. But there's usually 1 star on the field, and there's 2 safeties. So he has to cross-train, and so far he's done a good job of doing that. And, he continues to develop and work hard. I think he's a bright-eyed kid, and he really loves the game of football.
Where's Isaiah Wilson at now compared to where he was a year ago?
Oh yeah, he's a long way. I mean, he's not there, but this time last year he was sucking up in the heat. I mean, he was struggling with the heat, and now he's over that. He's playing quicker, he's playing faster, he's seen things. I think the year of development really helped him. Then the spring helped him, and then from the spring to now, he's gotten better. But he hasn't arrived yet. He hasn't won that job out yet. I mean, there's a lot of competition in that position, but he is performing at a much better level. Thanks.